Football is more than goals and trophies. Behind every legend, every transfer, and every scandal lies a story waiting to be told. Welcome to ALN Football Untold, the stories behind the game.
Some footballers become legends, others become myths. And then, there's Neymar, a player so gifted that many believed he would become football's next king. Instead, his career became one of the game's greatest mysteries. Was Neymar simply unlucky? Or did one decision change everything forever? From ALN Football Untold, this is the dark truth behind Neymar's career. Long before the headlines, before Barcelona, before Paris, before the criticism, there was simply a boy, a skinny child from Mogi das Cruzes. Like millions of Brazilian children, football wasn't entertainment. It was hope. His father saw something special. Not just talent, but imagination. The kind of football Brazil had been missing since Ronaldinho. At just 11 years old, Neymar joined Santos, the very same club where Pelé became immortal. That wasn't pressure. It was destiny. Coaches couldn't believe what they were watching. He wasn't simply faster. He wasn't simply more skillful. He played with joy, with confidence, with fearlessness. Even before becoming a professional, European clubs had already started calling. By 17, Brazil believed it had found its next king. But no one knew. The hardest part of Neymar's story hadn't even begun. When Neymar finally made his professional debut, everything changed. Within months, he wasn't just another teenager. He became the face of Brazilian football. Defenders couldn't stop him. Fans couldn't stop talking about him. And sponsors couldn't stop signing him. Then came the moment that announced Neymar to the world. The Puskas Award. One goal. One impossible run. One reminder that football still had room for magic. In 2011, he delivered Santos their first Copa Libertadores title in decades. Suddenly, every major club wanted him. Chelsea, Real Madrid, Barcelona. The biggest decision of his life was waiting. Choosing Barcelona would make Neymar a global superstar. Leaving Barcelona would change football forever. By 2013, Neymar had conquered Brazil. Now, he wanted Europe. Every giant wanted him. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Manchester City. But only one club felt like destiny: Barcelona. Leaving Santos wasn't simply a transfer. It was the end of one dream, and the beginning of another. At Barcelona, Neymar wasn't joining just any team. He was joining Lionel Messi. Messi wasn't just the best player in the world. Many already believed he was the greatest footballer in history. Playing beside him could either make Neymar immortal or invisible. Then, something extraordinary happened. Barcelona created what many still call The greatest front three football has ever seen. At Barcelona, Neymar joined Messi and Suarez to form one of football's greatest attacking trios. The famous MSN partnership terrorized defenders. Together they won trophies, dominated Europe, and created unforgettable moments. Defenders couldn't stop them. Goalkeepers feared them. Europe admired them. Together, they played football like art. By just 23 years old, Neymar had already won almost everything. Champions League, league titles, domestic cups, individual awards, millions of fans. But behind the celebrations, another feeling had quietly begun to grow. Every headline still belonged to Messi. No matter how brilliant Neymar played, he remained the second star. And then, one phone call changed football forever. In the summer of 2017, Paris Saint-Germain made an offer no football club had ever dared to make. €222 million. The most expensive transfer in football history. Football couldn't believe it. Why would anyone leave the best team in the world? The answer wasn't money. At least not entirely. Many believed Neymar wanted something no amount of money could buy. His own throne. As long as Messi remained in Barcelona, Neymar would always be the prince, never the king. Paris offered him something Barcelona never could. One club, one superstar, one kingdom. At first everything looked perfect. Goals, assists, standing ovations. Football believed Neymar had finally escaped Messi's shadow. Then came the injury. One injury. Then another. Then another. Every season the same story. Every Champions League campaign, another setback. The transfer that was supposed to create football's next king slowly became football's biggest question. But injuries weren't the only problem. Soon Neymar would face criticism unlike anything he'd experienced before. Every footballer gets injured, but very few players see their greatest dreams disappear because of them. Neymar's story wasn't defined by one injury. It was defined by the worst possible timing. Season after season. Just when Paris Saint-Germain needed him most, Neymar disappeared. Broken metatarsals, ligament problems, muscle injuries, rehabilitation, recovery, return, and then another injury. The world began asking the same question. Could Neymar's body survive modern football? Every missed match made the criticism louder. Every injury pushed the Ballon d'Or further away. While Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo continued making history, Neymar watched from the sidelines. Football never questioned his talent. It questioned whether talent alone was enough. But injuries weren't the only battle Neymar was fighting. As injuries continued, something else changed. Public opinion. The same player once celebrated as Brazil's future was now becoming football's favorite target. Some called him a genius. Others called him overrated. Some believed injuries ruined his career. Others believed Neymar ruined it himself. But behind the headlines, there was another Neymar. A teammate admired by many. A generous friend. A devoted father. A player whose teammates often defended him. Football rarely tells both sides. It remembers mistakes more than sacrifices. Every holiday became a headline. Every party became another reason to question his commitment. But here's the question. Were people judging Neymar for what he did? Or for who they expected him to become? When Brazil was eliminated, Neymar wasn't smiling. He wasn't partying. He wasn't acting. He was simply heartbroken. Sometimes, football forgets that even superstars are human. Then, just when Neymar believed another Champions League run could change everything, football gave him one final heartbreak. When Neymar left Barcelona, he wasn't chasing money. He was chasing history. He wanted to win the Champions League as the undisputed leader. He wanted the Ballon d'Or. He wanted the football world to say one thing. Neymar did it on his own. For a moment it looked possible. Neymar was brilliant. Defenders couldn't stop him. The fans believed. Paris believed. Football believed. Then, the injuries returned again, and again, and again. Every Champions League campaign seemed to end the same way. Hope. Injury. Elimination. In 2020, Neymar came closer than ever. 90 minutes stood between him and the moment he had chased for years. But football had one more cruel twist. Bayern Munich won. Neymar cried. The dream survived. But only just then, the football world changed forever. Something happened no one expected. Lionel Messi left Barcelona. For millions of fans, it looked like a dream. Messi, Neymar, Mbappé. 3 superstars. 1 club. But football isn't played on paper. Instead of domination, came disappointment. Critics grew louder. Expectations became heavier. The pressure became unbearable. For Neymar, Paris had become everything Barcelona never was. A place where every mistake became a headline. After 6 years, the dream was over. Neymar left Europe. Not as the Ballon d'Or winner many predicted, but as football's greatest unanswered question. Then, disaster struck once again. A torn ACL. Another long recovery. Another chapter written by bad luck. But maybe football has judged Neymar too harshly. Every great story eventually comes full circle. For Neymar, that circle ended where everything first began. Santos. Years earlier, he had left Brazil as the country's greatest hope. Now he returned carrying something very different. Questions. For Santos supporters, he wasn't returning as a failure. He was returning as family. Sometimes, success isn't measured by where you finish. Sometimes, it's measured by where you're remembered. But one final question still remains. How should football remember Neymar? These achievements would define the career of almost any successful footballer. Yet somehow they never felt enough when Neymar is involved. Perhaps Neymar's greatest misfortune wasn't his injuries. It wasn't Paris. It wasn't criticism. It was timing. He arrived in an era dominated by 2 of the greatest footballers the world had ever seen. And despite everything, Neymar inspired millions. Children copied his skills. Fans copied his celebrations. Football became more entertaining because Neymar played it. Maybe greatness isn't only about numbers. Maybe it's about memories. About joy. About imagination. About making millions of people fall in love with football. Neymar never became football's next king. But perhaps he never needed to. Because while football searched for another Messi, the world forgot that there would only ever be one Neymar. This was the dark truth behind Neymar's career. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to ALN Football Untold. Every week, we uncover the football stories the headlines never told. Which football legend should we investigate next? Tell us in the comments below.